It is quite common to go ahead and add circuits that are standardized at your company. Here on this drawing, we have a standard circuit for controls that use standard wiring, standard terminals, and standard gauge wire, as well as a manufacturer item. Let's go ahead and examine this circuit here. Now, I certainly could go ahead and copy and paste this information, but if I want this available for all of my engineers when they start new projects, the macro feature is our best friend here. Now, to actually use the macro library, there's a tab available called the Macros Library. Now, to turn that on, I could go to the View tab and turn the macro palette on and off. It can be placed wherever you wish on the screen. Mine just happens to be on the right side. You can add information to how the macros are classified. To do that, right-click in the gray area and create a new group. Call the group something that makes sense for you. We'll call it Control for a control circuit. And I will go ahead and create a pixel size standard for everything in this group. Because it's a long, slender type circuit, I will make it a height of 256 pixels by 32 pixels. Now drag the entities into that control window. We'll do a crossing window selection, making sure to grab all of the elements required, including the terminal, circuit, and the wires. Drag and drop it from a wire, but not on the end of the wire. Now we're presented with the macro save. We can change the name, as well as any other information, like the classification or the description. And there it is. Now to use the control circuit that we just created, drag and drop it directly from the macro window onto your schematic. It will bring up the Paste Special option. Here, we can change which marking system to use. For example, we want to create a new terminal on the terminal block, and we also want to create a new component that references the existing part from the manufacturer's database. So now we have 2 gauges in our bill of materials. And of course, we can keep on dragging and dropping away here, and it remembers your last use setting. One caveat here, though, is that any macro that you create will only live in the project that you have created that macro in. So if I open a brand new project or an existing project, you're not going to have that macro in there. A good workaround for this is to add these macros to your default templates. So that way, when you create new jobs, they'll always be there. So I'll go ahead and create a new ANSI project, which is my standard. And then in the new project, we'll name it whatever we want here, because we're just going to overwrite it with the ANSI template name. And once it's open, copy and paste that circuit into the blank project and make a macro out of it in the blank project, making sure to leave my existing project open so that I have 2 project windows. Because I have 2 project windows open, I can use the macros. Now close the existing project and keep the blank project open. Notice the macro library goes away because we don't have any stored macros. We'll go ahead and create a new group once again, giving it the appropriate pixel sizing, and now we'll drag and drop it as normal, giving it the proper name. And there we go. Now we'll delete it from our sheet because we don't want those circuits available on the sheet, we want them in the palette. We'll close the project out, and now we'll save it as a template once it's closed, and we will overwrite the default ANSI template. So now, the next time we open a new ANSI project, that macro library item will be available. So anybody in the company that creates a new project from the ANSI template will have that standard control circuit available for use. And this really helps cut down on purchasing costs because we're all buying from the same supplier with the same part number and our inventory is under control. And there it is.